Greetings and welcome to the Pipe Farthing. In 2 days' time after releasing this video, we have a very special guest coming to my parish for what is called the Authenticum Lecture Series. The Authenticum Lecture Series is something that my friend and I started 10 or 11 years ago. I have not been involved with it for a number of years since I've took on some additional teaching roles, and something had to give, so that gave. But the Authenticum Lecture Series is much like this channel. It promotes the good, true, and beautiful. It is all done from a Catholic perspective. It's at our home church. So anyway, Dr. Alan Harrelson will be here in 2 days. Very excited about that. My buddy who works for the parish and who I started the lecture series with a number of years ago was talking to me. I don't know if it was after one of the other lectures or maybe it was before or after I taught a class there at the parish. But he was talking about how he really wanted somebody to speak on Hilaire Belloc's The Servile State, but he could never find anybody who he thinks would do a good job. And I had been watching Alan Harrelson's videos for a while and suggested that I think I know of a guy. And anyway, he asked if I would reach out to him and try to make the connection. I sent an email to Dr. Harrelson that evening. And I think it was maybe 24 hours later, he said, yeah, let's talk about it. Anyway, I connected the two, and that event is happening. So he'll be speaking on Hilaire Belloc's The Servile State. I might try to do like some recording from the event. It's an outside event. I'm not gonna, I don't think, record the lecture and post it here. I don't know if I'd have permission to do both. And I don't want to take away from me enjoying the event by doing a bunch of videoing. So we'll see. I'll probably post some pictures on the community page of this, this channel. But anyway, tonight, this leads me to my topic tonight. One, I want to introduce you to a blend that I put together, and very fittingly, we have my blend that I'm calling Older Not Old. And this is a picture of Hilaire Belloc when he is old. I'm not going to do much of a biography on Belloc right now, but I do encourage you to pick up a book called Old Thunder by Joseph Pearce. It is a wonderful biography on Hilaire Belloc. There's also a really good lecture that's posted online by Joseph Pearce on Hilaire Belloc's The Path to Rome. That you can find that if you search on YouTube, Joseph Pearce, The Path to Rome. It's on my other YouTube channel called Trail and Back Again. It's an hour-long lecture. It's phenomenal. But Hilaire Belloc was certainly a man who got older, but did not get old. He kept living. He was a boisterous, thunderous man. In fact, Joseph Pearce's biography on Belloc is called Old Thunder. He has it's quite a life experience from his time in military to serving in the French or the English Parliament, a staunch defender of the Catholic faith, a historian, essayist, poet. He would sing and took some great excursions. So I put together this blend that kind of makes me think about living a life similar to Hilaire Belloc's. It is there's a couple burley blends in here, and then there's a kind of a mix of other blends with the vanilla topping. It's just a nice communal blend, good around a bunch of people, and I'm really happy how it turned out. So I'm going to smoke this tonight, anticipating this wonderful event that's coming up. And I also want to share with you some of my favorite stuff by Hilaire Belloc, and that is cautionary tales for children. So let's get this lit, and then let's talk about these cautionary tales a little bit. We're getting there. All right. So, cautionary tales for children by Hilaire Belloc. These are so fun. And it's so interesting too, because he, being such a staunch defender of the Catholic faith, and of all things good, true, and beautiful, it was really fun to have Hilaire Belloc writing children's stories because he was just such a thunderous man, as I've already alluded to. The introduction is wonderful. It says this: upon being asked by a reader whether the verses contained in this book were true, he says this: and is it true? Is it not true? And if it were, it wouldn't do for people such as me and you, who pretty nearly all day long are doing something rather wrong. Because if things were really so, you would have perished long ago, and I would not have lived to write the noble lines that meet your sight, nor Edward G. survive to draw the nicest things you ever saw. Hilaire Belloc. I just love it. Okay, I think we're going here. I'm going to read two stories, just for fun, just to introduce you to this. Jim, who ran away from his nurse and was eaten by a lion. There was a boy whose name was Jim. Let me rearrange here. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of delicious ham and chocolate with pink inside and little tricycles to ride. And read him stories through and through, and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children are never allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now this was Jim's special foible. He ran away when he was able, and on this inauspicious day he slipped his hand and ran away. He had gone a yard when bang! With open jaws a lion sprang, and hungrily began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. Now, just imagine how it feels when first your toes and then your heels, and then by gradual degrees your shins and ankles, calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted, "Hi!" The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. "Ponto," he ordered as he came, for Ponto was the lion's name. "Ponto," he cried with an angry frown. "Let go, sir, down, sir, put it down." The lion made a sudden stop. He let the dainty morsel drop, and Sluck relunked it back to his cage, snarling with disappointed rage. But when he bent him over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes were dim. The lion, having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. When nurse informed his parents, they were more concerned than I can say. His mother, as she dried her eyes, said, "Well, it gives me no surprise. He would not do as he was told." His father, who was self-controlled, bade all their children round attend to James' miserable end, and always keep a hold of nurse for fear of finding something worse. The end. Let's relight this pipe. Isn't that just wonderful? Just a wonderful little tale. Kind of morbid, right? What it is. Cautionary tales for children. Not fun. I read these to my girls when they were younger, and they just got a kick out of them. I don't remember what age. I mean, they were probably past the age of reason. But I think it's good that they understand the humor behind it and not unnecessarily burden them with any sort of fear. that is not fitting for a certain age. There's one more I want to read to you. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let's see. That one? No, we'll do this one. Matilda, who told lies and was burned to death. Those are good. Matilda told such dreadful lies, it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, I almost lost my page, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort very nearly killed her, and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once toward the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play, and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble fire brigade. Within an hour, the gallant band was pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney, Downs, and Bow, with courage high and hearts aglow. They galloped, roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud, proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor, and took peculiar pains to souse the pictures up and down the house, until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed. And even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. Uh-oh. I think you see where this is going. It happened that a few weeks later, her aunt was off to the theater to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to hear this entertaining piece, a deprivation just and wise to punish her for telling lies. That night, a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl, and throw the window up and call. To people passing in the street, the rapidly increasing heat encouraged her to obtain their confidence, but all in vain, for every time she shouted fire, they only answered, little liar. And therefore, when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burned. The end. How's that for truth-telling? Good advice for children. Good advice for it all. Anyway, this week is a week that I'm reading through, talking about, thinking about Hilaire Belloc, and I can't wait for this lecture coming up. Hope you enjoyed hearing some of those cautionary tales, and we'll see you on the next video. God bless you all. Thanks for visiting with me here in the Pipe Farthing. Bye-bye.